The Chicago Bears just got some fantastic news. And funny enough, it involves the Minnesota Vikings. So I can't stop looking at the schedule for this season, and it is just brutal on the back end with all the Bears divisional matchups packed in together. This division, it's going to be the toughest in football, but there's a development I've been following that makes it more likely that this is only going to be a three-team race to the finish. Minnesota Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, he does not look like he's ready one bit. He is way behind on his footwork, and he's been reported as being far from ready in almost every area. And what's up? I'm Sean. This is Sports Talk Bears. Hey, like and subscribe. Would love for you to join our positive community, our positive family here. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. So I don't usually do stories like this, and I don't usually focus on a different team, but why is this great for us? I mean, looking at the schedule, we very well might need, that's right, need to sweep the Vikings during the second half of the season in order to get into the playoffs. And a less than pro-ready J.J. McCarthy, it's actually a good thing for the Bears. So I'm going to get into a story here on BearGogglesOn.com talking about the poor first impression that McCarthy is giving the Vikings thus far. And you guys give this story a look. I'm going to particularly quote a certain section of it, so feel free to follow along. So he's off to a rough start, and we're told that by Inside the Vikings reporter Will Regatz. And he details how the Vikings are already working on a mechanical tweak with how he delivers the football. And frankly, everything, lower body, upper body, learning the playbook, just not great. But I'm going to quote directly from the scouting report on him in OTAs. So the spring is about coaching up players on their technique, installing offensive and defensive schemes, and aiming to get better through repetition. To that end, it's notable that the Vikings are working with rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy on a specific element of his footwork. McCarthy has a long ways to go in his development. There's work to be done on his footwork and lower body mechanics, his upper body mechanics, his ability to read NFL defenses, his command of the playbook, the consistency of his accuracy, and everything else you can imagine. Nonetheless, the Vikings are pleased with him where he's at right now. That's crazy, that last part. So they're pleased. How is that even possible? And I'm going to close this story down. That just really made me laugh, and it made whoever made the author of the story laugh as well. So they're pleased. So outside of his footwork, his upper body mechanics, his feet, his legs, his mental capacity for the playbook. So it's going well. I don't know. That just sounds funny to me. It's going great besides those things. On top of that, they're doing something similar to what the Bears did with Justin Fields to tweak his mechanics. By the way, it wasn't a successful tweak for us, and he's just recently reverted to his original lineup now that he's with the Steelers. So us doing this particular thing that I'm going to talk about with Justin Fields, it wasn't successful, and Fields' response is to go back to where he started with the Steelers. So not all teams are alike, not all situations are alike, but I think it's super interesting. So if that's any indication of the wisdom of this change up, then Minnesota, they should be cautious changing so many things immediately. They're changing his setup out of the shotgun by moving his left foot forward, the exact opposite of his setup at the University of Michigan. I mean, this is very common in the NFL. It checks out, but to have a guy drafted this high have so many things to tweak, it doesn't exactly instill optimism. And J.J. McCarthy, he's a good kid. He was a great leader at Michigan, a national champion. But I hope he ends up being a great QB in this league, or at least a good one. But as a Bears fan, I hope he needs at least this year to figure it out. But if he's a bad pick, and really the other quarterbacks are established in this division, Caleb Williams, he's showing every indication so far that he's the real deal. We've got Jared Goff. We've got Love. I mean, this is a solid quarterback division here in the NFC North. But if the Vikings made a mistake here, this is going to set them way back. They let Cousins go. They traded the 11th, the 129th, and the 157th pick to the Jets to move up to 10, selecting McCarthy. I mean, it's not an earth-shattering expense, but this could really hurt them and bring this division into a three-man race for the conceivable future. I mean, this could set them back half a decade. I mean, there's Sam Darnold there. I'm going to recognize that. But he's just good enough to get into a quarterback controversy with the rookie. And uncertainty, that's a nice thing for our matchups if they're in a quarterback controversy. And there's a story on The Athletic's Alec Lewis. He tweeted Wednesday about Darnold's performance at organized team activities. And this kind of feeds into exactly what I'm talking about. One day of practice, so no reason at all to make more of it than need be. But he thought Sam Darnold looked very good today. Just unafraid, throwing over the middle, accurate, some nice juice on it. Lots of solid connections with Jordan Addison. But this is what Darnold does. You guys have watched football. This is what Darnold does. Fans can assuredly be excited about it, but it's nothing terribly new. In fact, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, he said last week, we don't always get quarterback competition, and this is a real one. The fact that Sam Darnold is in there, I've also learned that he's looked good. He's going to look good, something he's done his entire career. When it's the spring, when it's the preseason, or when he has seemed unbothered, he's looked excellent. But it's really a matter of time when he gets in games. Is he the same quarterback when it doesn't all go perfectly? I mean, it's certainly not bad news that Darnold looks great at OTAs, but he's just continuing his streak. I mean, he's had stops in New York, Carolina, San Francisco. We're going to see if it translates to a regular season field. And Darnold has consistently delivered the same results by not being able to carry a whole season of good football. We've seen this. And the Bears could be a beneficiary of playing against a rookie who isn't ready when we meet them twice in the second half of the season. When he's thrown into the fire with a rapidly fading season for the Vikings, I mean, take it from us as Bears fans, right? I don't want to poke at our PTSD, but picking the wrong quarterback, tweaking all this stuff in his mechanics, tinkering from day one, it can really throw your franchise into a tailspin, and it can really hurt the development of a quarterback. It kind of is starting to show that they reached on McCarthy after letting Cousins go. I think it's looking more and more like a reach on McCarthy because they're already tweaking absolutely everything. And you've got a beat reporter that is recognizing that already this early in OTAs, which is absolutely crazy. And I thought Minnesota, they had to reach for JJ McCarthy because they had to get a contract done with Jefferson. And Jefferson is not going to sign that contract with Sam Darnold in tow. Hopefully the Vikings are able to get JJ McCarthy in order, ready to go. So then Justin Jefferson can sign his contract with confidence. And it's based more on not just on money, but on whether this team can be competitive. So I don't usually do a show on an opposing team, but this situation with Minnesota and our need, because this first half of the schedule, we got to stack wins, as I keep talking about. This second half of the schedule is going to be an absolute gauntlet. And what a service it would be if Minnesota's quarterback situation remains unsettled, that they have to throw JJ McCarthy into the fire before he's ready. Like whatever scenario, this greatly benefits the Bears, because looking at the second half of the season, if we don't have these wins stacked up perfectly at the first half of the season, if we get some injuries, it is almost a necessity that we sweep Minnesota. I can see us splitting with Detroit. I'm not going to say that we split with Green Bay until we've earned the right to say that, but I think we split with the Packers this week. Yeah, this year. Yeah, I said it. Don't hold me to it. But sweeping Minnesota, that late season win against Seattle that we're going to need. Every single one of these wins is going to count. And the fact that JJ McCarthy is looking unready just adds fuel to the fire. It gives us even more hope for this season. So I'm thankful for you guys. Thanks for kind of sticking with a more unorthodox story. And I appreciate each of you. Bear down, and we'll talk soon. See ya.